I'm making some Dutch oven cooking, some really easy recipes that anybody can make. Simple ingredients, simple preparation, and simple procedure. So, two dishes we're having tonight. One is evil chicken, the other is southern succotash. So, evil chicken, there's only a few ingredients. You start with a whole lot of bacon. Choose how many pounds of bacon you're going to do. This here is about 3 pounds of bacon. And then put in at least that many pounds of chicken cubed up on top of it once it's cooked through. Once all that cooks, you add about a cup of brown sugar for each pound of bacon you put in, and then cook that until it turns to nice caramel. And the final ingredient is to add chili powder. Now, not to make it spicy, but just to balance out the sweet. So it's not a spicy dish. It's just it's a nice savory dish with a touch of sweet and a touch of spicy mixed together. And that's it. Super easy, and everybody just loves it. It comes out caramelized. The bacon and the chicken together is all caramelized. Really delicious dish. Okay, so after my bacon was nice and browned, I went ahead and added the cubed chicken, and I've been just cooking that with the lid on until it starts to get cooked through. I'm watching how much liquid is in there because I know I want to make sauce with it. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water so things are kind of covered, but not too much. Less than a cup. Less than a cup. Just enough to keep it wet, and so I can add my dry ingredients later and it will soak up into it. So just kind of keeping an eye on the liquid level. All right, so if you look at what we got now, the chicken is all getting cooked through. There's no need to overcook it because it's going to be on the heat for a little while longer. But just make sure you've kind of cooked the pink out of the chicken so that, you know, from here on out, we can eat it anytime we want. It's just a matter of getting it to the flavor we like. So now I'm going to add the brown sugar. And there's about a cup of brown sugar here for each pound of bacon. And we're going to stir that in really good, and we're going to watch it start to caramelize. It's going to start, all that watery stuff is going to start to thicken with the sugar, and it's going to caramelize, and it doesn't take very long. Just a couple of minutes, and it'll start to do that. While that's going on, I'm going to be adding the chili powder so that the flavors get nice and mixed. Now the chili powder I'm adding, it depends on preference, but I'm adding about a tablespoon per cup of sugar. So I'm going to start with about 3 tablespoons of chili powder, and then just taste it. And if it's overpowering sweet, add a little more chili powder. If you like it spicy, you can add a lot more chili powder, but I like it with about a tablespoon per cup of sugar. Okay. Now that I added the chili powder, you'll see really quickly why it's called evil chicken. As soon as you add that chili powder, the whole consistency starts to turn a dark red, and the red will deepen as it cooks here. But that's where the evil chicken name comes from, is that devilish color, and maybe the heart attack that comes with it. But it's worth it. Okay, so I've been cooking the sugar and the chili powder here for about 5 minutes. You can see it's starting to thicken up. It's starting to caramelize, but I've tasted it just now. And be very careful when you're tasting this because this is mostly oil, so you got to make sure it's cool before you put your lips on that. But for me, this is a little sweet still for my taste, so I'm going to add about another 2 or 3 tablespoons. That's going to bring me to about 2 tablespoons per cup of sugar is where we're gonna balance out here. So I can see it starting to caramelize. When I've got a little pool here, I scrape my spoon across the bottom, and I can feel it starting to stick. And if I scoop some of the stuff away, you can see how it doesn't fill right back in. You can see the bottom of the pan. That's just evidence that it's starting to turn to caramel. Okay, so we've been boiling this down for a couple more minutes now. It's starting to thicken up nicely. So this recipe's done. I'm going to take a little sample here, just make sure the flavors are the way I like them. And there you have it, another delicious batch of evil chicken. Okay, so our meal is all ready to go here. We've got our succotash and our evil chicken. This whole thing took about 45 minutes to cook, and a little bit of prep time up ahead of it, 15 or 20 minutes to chop everything up. You can see I was using a camp chef to cook on rather than briquettes. That's because we only need bottom heat, and we need a nice consistent heat through the whole process. So I've cooked this whole thing on about medium-low here on the camp chef, and it took about 45 minutes. Okay, so just a tip here for when you have multiple Dutch ovens, as you're likely to have. I like to mark my Dutch ovens with something that's fireproof. This helps you when you go to a big function. There's lots of Dutch ovens around. I have a little tag on here that has a number 2 on it. This one has a matching number too, one for the lid and one for the bowl. Or you can do something simple like a piece of wire with a couple of nuts. And the idea is that you always get your lid back matched to the basin, and you always get your stuff back at the end of the night.